Hey guys, it's Vanessa, and I am so excited to show you a new recipe today. It is called Quinoa Pizza Bites. You're like, what? Right? So it's going to feature Fermano's pepperoni flavored quinoa and some other ingredients that you can change the flavors with and dress it up or dress it down and have lots of different things for. So you can eat these for appetizers. Maybe you have some holidays coming up that you'd like to use them for, or you can even get creative and use them for on top of pasta or as a meatball sub or anything like that. So this is an easy peasy recipe that I think you're gonna like. So are you ready? Let's go. All right, let's get ready. So the first thing I did was I opened up the pouch of pepperoni flavored quinoa. So when it comes like this, it's all going to be kind of solid. So I first poured it into the bowl here and just kind of used this and broke all the clumps apart so that it was more fine and easy to work with. So 1 pouch equals about 4 cups, and this is already cooked. All right, so that's important to remember, because if you are not using fully cooked quinoa, you're going to have to take care of that first. Okay, so what we're going to do is just measure out, let me see here, 2 cups of this. So I guess I'll just move about two of this out. So I'm actually going to use the entire batch, not for the video, but why waste it, right? So you can save it and use it for another time, but I'm just going to use it all for this recipe because I'm thinking that these pizza bites will be either great to share or great to freeze for a later date. Okay, so I'm just kind of eyeballing this. So I think that's about two cups right there. So we've got our 2 cups of quinoa, and now the original recipe called for breadcrumbs. I didn't have breadcrumbs, so I am going to use some croutons instead. So if you're like me, sometimes you just have to figure out with what you've got at home and make it work, right? So I'm just going to do some breadcrumbs here. Okay, so you make do with what you've got, right? So we're going to need about half a cup of breadcrumbs. Let's see what we've got here. I'll just pour this right in here. See what we've got. I wasn't really sure how many it was going to take, so I was just going to do extra, right? You can use them for something else down the road. So I became a master at substituting ingredients. So I've got about half a cup of croutons here. I'm just going to pour the rest in here and we'll use it for another thing because we're going to use this little contraption for some other stuff. Okay, so we'll just put this right back together. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to throw some fresh spinach in here. So I like this recipe because you can trick your family eating some things that they didn't know that they were eating. So you can also throw some protein powder in here if you'd like to do that. You know, colorless, tasteless, they're not going to know what they're eating. Just throw it on in there and it'll give it an extra pop of protein to get them through the day too. I always like some extra energy. So we'll just put this right inside here. Shred that up. Looking good. How about that, right? So you can just kind of use a handful, and we're just going to put this right into our bowl. Just pour it right inside there. It's real nice if you have a food processor that you can just take care of it right like that. Just so you don't have to be cutting anything by hand or having bigger pieces to deal with. Plus, it's harder for your family and friends to pick out, right? And who knows, they might not even know what it is. All right. Okay, let's put it all in there. So now we have some other ingredients that we need to pull together. If I can get that plate down, there we go. So now, we've got our quinoa, we've got our breadcrumbs, and we've got our spinach. Let's throw in some shredded cheese. So I have mozzarella. You could also use Parmesan. Just throw that in. Seriously, whatever you have in the house, just change it up, okay? So we've got that. Now I'm going to throw in some tomato. And actually, I think I'm going to chop this up too. So I've got some tomato here. You could use canned tomato if you want. I just had some fresh, so I'm just going to throw that right inside here. And I'm going to do the same thing and just grate this too. Okay, nice and easy peasy. Throw that right inside our bowl here. And a lot of these measurements are really just eyeballing and just kind of throwing them in. So those are my favorite kind, right? Measure with your heart. I always say you measure cheese, chocolate, and garlic with your heart. And speaking of garlic, I've got some of that to put in here as well. So let me just grab my garlic press. I was actually going to throw that in with the spinach, and I totally forgot. So we'll just do that separate. Just throw that on inside here. Garlic has so many health benefits. So when you think about these are super duper healthy, and you can make them gluten-free. So if you had gluten-free breadcrumbs, you know, that helps too, makes them a little bit easier for everybody to enjoy. So we throw those inside, and we need some eggs. So since I doubled the recipe, I'm going to put 2 eggs in here. There's 1 and 2. Hopefully nobody gets a shell, but you just never know, okay? Rinse up. And now we need some salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. So for salt, we're going to put about 1/2 teaspoon. I just had my, so we'll just put about 1/2 in here. And for pepper, we're going to use about 1/4. Okay, so 1 of these. So we've got that. Easy so far, easy peasy. And then we've got some Italian seasoning. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons. Actually, maybe a little bit more than that. We'll put about 3. So I can measure right inside my lid here so I don't have to dirty another dish. I mean, better yet, right? So we'll just pour that right inside. And that's it. That's all for the ingredients. So now we're just going to give it a mix. Imagine the different possibilities of ways that you could season this up. Again, if you'd like it to be a little bit more veggie packed, put some more spinach or kale in here. Load it up, right? You can't go wrong. So we just have all of these right inside. And from here, I've already got the baking sheet already out. Baking sheet with the rack on top. If you don't have that, just take a regular baking sheet, line it with parchment paper, and it will be good to go. Okay, so I've got my scoop. We're just going to measure these out. And so if you do a single batch, it should be about, let me just form it with my hands. Maybe that won't even work. I don't know. So if you've got a single batch of this, it should make about 12. I think I'm going to throw some more of these fake breadcrumbs in. Let's see if that helps out a little bit. Sometimes that happens when you sub out ingredients, right? But you can use your parchment paper and just do it like that. A single batch will make about 12 of these. I'm going to do a double. In fact, I'm actually going to do more than that. So I should get about 48 or so. And just depending on the size of the scoop that you use will determine the size of them. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work out doing it with my hands or not. This is a brand new recipe to me, so we will see. Okay, so we'll just, there we go. So that works out real nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this, space these out a little teeny bit. Way better than doing it by hand, right? Nobody wants any part of that. Plus it's messy. So we'll just scoop it on here. They're falling apart a little bit, but I have high hopes. Okay, so I'll just continue doing this. When it's done, we're just gonna pop it in the oven for about 13 to 15-ish minutes. When our halfway point comes, you can flip them around. I'm just gonna let mine go because I've got airflow coming up from both sides. So they should cook evenly, and stay tuned.